Doug Adams here from Run DNA, here to talk to you about all things running. And this week I want to talk about what I call a QRA, questions runners ask. So if you want to be that go-to running professional that people are asking for you by name, you really have to have a lot of the answers, not just to what type of training they should do or how to get stronger or faster or how to reduce pain, but you really need to be able to answer all types of training questions. So at the timing of this recording, it's November, and that means it's the start of cold and flu season. So one of the questions that we commonly get is, can I run if I'm feeling sick? And you know that runners don't like to miss any running, especially if they have a race coming up or if they're in the middle of a training plan. They really don't want to take any time off. And if we can avoid having them take time off, it also gets us a little goodwill in their eyes. So it's important for us to have a well thought out answer with us. So when we're thinking this, I said, well, I want to have a well thought out answer. And a friend of mine reached out to me. He sent me a text message this weekend saying, should I run? You know, I've got a little bit of a sore throat. I feel a little off, but I really want to get my run in. It's a beautiful fall day. I want to get out there. So I went and I have my answers, but I also took a little time to look at the literature. And what we see in the literature is there's actually this study done at, I believe it was Ball State University. But this researcher, what he did is he took people that had cold-like symptoms and he had them split into two groups. One group did 5 out of 7 days a week of low to moderate intensity aerobic exercise. The other group did nothing. They were both groups were classified as sedentary prior to this really intervention that they were doing. And what we saw was that after the 7 days, there was no worse symptoms for the group that did the exercise versus the group that didn't. We also didn't see that the cold lasted for longer than the group that didn't. So that's good news, that low to moderate intensity will not increase the symptoms or extend the duration of it. Remember, these are college kids, so it's a little bit different if you're maybe working with a different population there. But it's good to know that if they keep the intensity low, maybe it won't have a big effect. And they even did further studies, and this was kind of a mean study, but they even infected people with the same strand of the cold so that they were comparing apples to apples. And what they found through about 2 or 3 of these studies was that there really was no difference if you keep the intensity low. So some common sense rules that we're thinking about here. First off, I would say, and this is what I told my buddy, is that if you have a fever, don't run. That's kind of an easy one, common sense. Your body's already elevated, trying to fight something off. If you're taking away from energy and adding heat, it's not really good. 2 is we use the throat rule. If you have any symptoms that are below your throat, that might be congestion in your lungs or stomach issues or bowel issues, if you have any of that stuff, probably not a good idea to run. So that's a guideline of when you might be able to sneak a run in versus you should really focus on resting and letting your body heal up. The next thing is I'm a big fan of watching your physiological measurements. So I think if their resting heart rate goes more than 10% above your last 7 to 10 day average, that you're probably better to take a rest day. I'm a big fan of saying that there's no one workout that is so important that you miss future workouts beyond that. So if you sneak in one run when you're feeling a little chesty, but then you develop a bad cough or you develop, God forbid, pneumonia, and you miss 2 weeks of running, you probably should have taken that 1 day off and had an extra rest day and missed that 1 day instead of going beyond. Because remember that one of the other points that we have here on this slide is that 50% of your normal running maintains your aerobic fitness. So if you run 20 miles a week and then you run 10 miles because you're getting cold symptoms, that's not going to cause you to lose fitness. You might not be gaining fitness, but you're not going to lose fitness either. So if you do work out and you're meeting some of these other rules, I do also urge you to keep the intensity low, just because there's a lot more stress on the body and a lot more recovery that happens if you're doing speed work or tempo work. So try and remember that as well. So hopefully these are some common sense type things that you can use with your runners. If you have other things, please share them in the comments. Let us know how you guide your athletes and maybe some tips or tricks. Does zinc work for you? Have you found something that really works for runners? Or if you do some cross training, it's a great time to do some biking or other things that might be lower to moderate intensity that can help out. So please share and let us know what you're doing, and we hope that you stay happy and healthy, and so do your runners.